Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. And I welcome you to this program. While you are joining, invite others to join. If you are joining us, invite others to join. We are okay. Just 1 minute. Share the video, invite others to join.
Do you understand it? Every Yoruba person supporting Fulani, you are setting up yourself to become like the Hausa people. Remember when Hausa was supporting Fulani? We are Hausa Fulani, we are Hausa Fulani. Where are the Hausa people today? I ask you. Where are those Hausa people today? Do you see them anymore? They're saying we are Hausa Fulani, we are Hausa Fulani. Do you see them again today? Do you see them? I'm asking you. No, because Fulani have completely overwhelmed them. It's called emasculation. Completely emasculated them. Look at what they're doing in the East. In the East, they come to the East, I will tell you, oh, Banta. They have taken it over in forever and ever. Give us land in your state. Hope of them have proved to us that you are stood. Give us land in Olo. Hope of them will give them land in Olo. We can go and kill people in Obibo. We can kill for them. How many Fulani governors are prepared to kill bandits? I didn't say normal people. I'm talking about armed, dangerous bandits. How many Fulani governors? Go and read your newspapers, you will see it there. Fulani governors are negotiating with them, giving them arms, giving them vehicles, making sure that their life is no longer a misery. But see, they come down to the south. They tell you, give us land for Ruga. Go and kill your people to prove to us that you're one Nigerian. That was why Obioso was talking rubbish. Was talking, was it yesterday or 2 days ago. Supported by the BBC. The problem you people have in Nigeria is this. Your journalists, you see people, Punch newspaper, Tribune, Vanguard, and Nation, they are your second worst enemies. I'm telling you the truth. They can never, ever be objective in their reportage. Never, ever, ever. That's why all of you are suffering. But you don't know it. They were the same people used to scuttle the NSAS protest. Of course, some of you went about looking for Indomie in warehouses. Typical black people. Any revolution that is coming now, you must stand very firm. They'll say, oh, you're Igbo. Oh, you're Yoruba. Oh, you are from Europe. Don't join them. It's our turn in 2023. If you do this, you will scuttle our chances of becoming the president in 2023. Ask yourself, all of them that have been president from time immemorial, what benefit has it brought to you as a human being? Absolutely nothing. So you have nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose. You look at them now, how they have now descended on Yoruba people, asking them to concede, give us your forest, we must graze, we must do this, we must do that. And slowly before your eyes, they are giving in, they are capitulating, they are allowing them to go, if you don't give it to us, so Tinubu will not be president in 2023. Tinubu won't be the president. That's what I'm saying to you. And foolishly you will agree and hand over your land to them. And once they take your land over from you, look at Hausa. Because there is a saying where we come from. If you want to know what your life is going to become in the future, look at Hausa people. If you want to understand appreciate, I will say, the life that you are about to bequeath to your children and grandchildren, look at Hausa people. Is there any Hausa governor today? Is there any Hausa emir? Is there land though? Katsina is Hausa land. Kanu is Hausa land. Sokoto is Hausa land. The Hausa people own it, indigenous to those areas. I'm asking you this question. Is there any Hausa man who is an emir in the north? The answer is no. Something's going to happen to you. If you don't rise up now to break, I'm not even asking people to break this rule. Demand for what rightfully belongs to you, your freedom. The freedom to decide. The freedom to write a constitution if you prefer. The freedom to live with whoever you want to live with. That is what we're asking for. But most people misunderstood what we are saying. And today, almost everything we have said about the zoo has come to pass. Everything we have told you, everything I told you has come to pass, hasn't it? Everything. And some people are still questioning and arguing. They said, Fulani will resist by all means necessary, including armed resistance, any attempt to forcefully eject them from the forest. Yoruba, you must ask yourself this question. When we were pursuing them from Ebonyi, why didn't they say something about ESN on Nnamdi Kanu? Why? Have you asked yourself that question? Because they know we are prepared to die to defend our land. They understand that very well. That is the only language the Fulani understand. You cannot say to Fulani, oh, let us have a Fulani president, and after that all will be well. Never, ever, ever. They will continue to expand. They will continue to identify idiots in your midst, traitors, saboteurs in your midst. They will promise them heaven and earth. They will give them anything they ask for in order to ensure that they get into you, they subjugate you. Look at Yoruba land, Ilorin. Yoruba, how did you lose Ilorin? You lost Ilorin because somebody thought or felt that by aligning himself with what he felt was a superior Fulani force, he can defeat his own people. Afonja, what happened? As a result of that miscalculation, the great Yoruba race lost Ilorin to Fulani Caliphate. That is why in Ilorin you have an emir of Ilorin, not an Oba of Ilorin, answerable to Sokoto. That is where Lai Muhammad comes from. You can see them. Sokoto slaves in Yoruba land. When I say that, it's not religion. It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with the mentality of a conquered people. Now they have left Ilorin, having taken Ilorin and taken it to Sokoto. They now want to come into Oyo. They want to come into Ondo. Once they take over all those places, it's over for the Yoruba race. Over for you. No, never again will anybody rise a man of honor or integrity in Yoruba land. Never ever. It will only be their stooge. Look at what's happening in the East. Only Fulani stooges can now emerge in the East. It took them very many years, nearly 50 years, to accomplish this very simple task of making sure that everybody, be it Ohanese, be it Pandef, be it governor, anybody you're bringing out must come to the north to swear allegiance to the caliphate. All of them, bar none. Is there any political godfather in the East? There is none. They all go to the north to go and swear allegiance to the Janjaweed. That is why our life is in a mess. That is why they can do something like Obiozo and make him the Ohanese President General. In front of our eyes, in front of Korokoro. And what did they bribe? They gave money to BBC. That is why they're paying Facebook billions upon billions of US dollars to stop this truth from coming out. Did Ojukwu cause any war? Gowon is alive, go and ask him. Did Ojukwu cause any war? Ojukwu went and negotiated restructuring with you in Aburi. You came back, Britain told you not to agree because Britain realized that all the component units of Britain knows that if you go back to regionalism, you will have economic growth. The country will do very well. But Britain doesn't want it. That was why they even instigated the Nzogwu coup, so-called Nzogwu coup, saying they will bring Awolowo to become the head of state. They knew what was going to happen. They wanted to truncate the economic miracle of Dr. Michael Opara. What I'm telling you are fast. Go and investigate for yourself. In the East, you had the fastest growing economy in the whole world, over 40% every year. In the West, Awolowo was performing his own miracle as well. Even in the North, Ahmadu Bello and Tafawa Balewa are doing very well. I say you want me to start mentioning names of people in this government that we have interrogated. I was a member of an interrogation team, and I've interrogated a very high-ranking member of this government. For us to control these people, in 2000 and let us introduce this war. There was a coup by Nzogwu, and after that, there was the massacre of, as usual, massacre of our people in the north. Ojukwu said, I have to secure my land and my people. They said, no, let's go to Aburi to discuss it. Ojukwu went to Aburi and agreed restructuring. That's something now you're asking for. To tell you how foolish Nigerians are. They're very foolish. That same nonsense you're asking for now was discussed many years ago. Ojukwu sat down in Aburi with Gowon and decided that regionalism was the best way forward, restructuring, going back to who you were, 1963 Constitution, 1960-1963 Constitution. Be on your own and pay tax to the central government, as they have in America, as they have even in Britain. Britain, you have Scotland that is almost independent, Wales, the same thing, everybody is free, but Britain doesn't want the same thing they're enjoying to happen in Nigeria. Why? Ask yourself that question. Anybody telling you about one Nigeria is your enemy, I'll prove it to you now. Ojukwu negotiated devolution, regionalism. The North will be on their own, the West on their own, even Midwest on their own, and then the East on their own. It's the same one Nigeria. On their way to the airport, before they boarded the aircraft, a call came from Lagos, from the British High Commissioner in Lagos, to Gowon, telling Gowon not to agree, after having signed the agreement. That same Gowon you're looking at today, God kept me alive so that he can witness the destruction he will bring upon that very zoo called Nigeria. Gowon said no. Do you know all the journalists in Nigeria, none of them have ever gone to Gowon to ask him, why did you say no to Aburi? Aburi was restructuring. None of those agitating for restructuring right now has ever gone to Gowon or gone to Nigeria to say, but Ojukwu negotiated restructuring. What happened? They came back and they said no. Ojukwu said, okay, so you want to continue to kill my people all over the place? No. Because of that, I'll declare Biafra. Today, they have brainwashed all of you with the perverse notion and thinking that somehow Ojukwu is responsible for causing a war, when opposite is the case. If not now, that after many years of hammering on this very topic, it has now sunk into the skull of the people that Gowon was the aggressor, not Ojukwu. That's how Nigeria is, always blaming the victim. And we lost over 5 million people during that very genocidal war. They killed over 5 million Biafrans. They have come, and this time with a wrath that you cannot even begin to imagine. And Biafra must come. It must come.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are, and you are welcome to this program. When you are joining, share this video, invite others to join. Share the video, invite others to join. Very, very important. Because we need to keep the record straight. We must keep the record straight. I believe that the reason why the Federal High Court in Abuja said that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu will not be given a bail is that they said, now, we are here now to make the record straight because we will be in Court of Appeal in less than 5 days' time. All you need to do is to share the video. If you are watching on YouTube, continue to like the video for the algorithm to do the work of sharing, and don't forget to do some. Before his court appearance was as a result of the military invasion of his father's house, where they came to kill him. While at that, they killed 28 able-bodied men who refused, to let the military kill their leader. The military regime, the military activities that is plunging the economic development, that is plunging the life of our people, young and old people, that is making people go to bed hungry in Nigeria. You know about Uncle Fela. Now, we are going to go back in time for you to understand what they did in Afarukwi Beku was not the first time they are doing such thing. in Nigeria. During the time of Fela Kuti, it was during the time of Obasanjo, they actually made sure they tried to, keep him quiet. They tried to keep him quiet. They sent military to his house and they ransacked everywhere. That is exactly what they repeated in Afaruku. Now, let me show you that video where you will understand what is going on, so that when they talk about Mazen Nnamdi Kanu being in contempt of court, you will know that they are the one who masterminded everything. Had it been they killed Mazen Nnamdi Kanu in Afaruku 2017 when they sent military to go and kill him, had it been they succeeded, will they have a court to say, a court sitting to say that he was in contempt, he is in contempt of court? Of course, there will be no court sitting. There will be no, case like this. Everything will be swept under the carpet. But because they did not succeed and they could not succeed, they now decided to label it that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail. And you will always remember that it is only a tree that learned that it is going to be cut down, and they still remain where they are. Now let's go to this video where you will understand the court sitting of the military invasion to Fela's house, where they went to kill him, but they could not get hold of him. I want you to pay attention to this video that you am about to play now. Let me bring it.
Swear that the evidence I shall give before this honorable commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Now, I usually give the witness an option to sit if he likes, or to stand. So you are at liberty to sit or to stand.
What you are listening to right now is a state commission, a court sitting against Obasanjo as a president during the time of Fela, where he sent military to go and kill Fela because Fela was advocating for equal right in the eyes of the law. Fela was advocating for equity, fairness, and justice. That was how they wanted to kill him. They wanted to shut him up. So, the reason why we are bringing it back is that if Nigeria will say that they are not aware of the military invasion of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, or there has never been such act in Nigeria, we are taking them back to 90s, where they did the same act to somebody who is also an activist of equity, an activist of justice and fairness. Now let us go and listen to this, commission. Let me bring it also to the small screen where you will also be seeing it and understanding it better.
On issue of Boko Haram, I interrogated him. He's in this government, right?
By my own thinking.
And what was the issue? Boko Haram. And this senior officer was actually let go because
Your Excellency,
he was found caught.
Now,
you were the head of state, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, as well as the Minister of Defense of the Federal Republic of Nigeria between February 1976 and September 1979. Is that correct?
Between February 1976 and September 1979, this was the time they sent the military to go and kill fella. Because in Nigeria, whoever stand up to challenge the system that was set up by Britain, which is being nurtured by some syndicate who call themselves the leader, they are writing, actually they are signing their death warrant. They are signing their death warrant. Because if you want to deny that you are not stopping people from exercising their right for freedom of expression, you will not deny it here. Because if you want to deny it, you will now, tell yourself, what was Obasanjo answering? What was this case that Obasanjo is answering in 90s? Because this has been their tactics. And the only reason why they fell attentively, then you will understand that it was exactly what they tried to do to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. They went there to cut him off. Even when he was under bail condition, they went there to kill him. Pay attention.
Sir, before this August Commission, can you recall the events of the 17th of February 1977 as related to the incident on the basis of which this petition was written?
No.
Okay. Now, Mr. President, on that day, if I may refresh your...
No. It is the member of Federal Executive Council
that met that day.
that met.
Very good.
Not Security Council.
Very good. Now, can you recall that?
I cannot.
Okay. Please show Mr. President the petition of Dr. Belkoran Kuti, please.
Is that Exhibit 1?
Yes, sir. The advertorial. The advertorial. That's Appendix 4. Appendix 4. That is the advertorial. By Major H.H. Ejokolo. Page 31. Yes, sir. Now, that is an advertorial by one Major M.H. Jokolo, retired. Does Your Excellency know Major Jokolo?
Yes, I do.
I'll be correct in suggesting that he's the present Emir of Gwandu. Is that correct?
Yes, you are correct.
Now, by 1977, sir, will you know the position he was holding?
He was ADC to Major General Shehu Yaradua. ADC. ADCAM.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now, in an advertorial placed by him in the Citizen magazine of November 9, 1992, he had this to say. That is at page 41 to 42 of that magazine. To the effect, sir, that a meeting of the Security Council was holding on that day, and that while that meeting was holding, General Danjuma stormed out of that meeting to give this instruction: go get me that stupid fella, dead or alive. He went back to their meeting. That is the meeting he alleged you were presiding over. His orders were clear but directed at actually none in particular. That's among the ADCs. We all look at each other in stunning silence. I made the first move by volunteering to go. The ADC to Commander-in-Chief, that is Your Excellency's ADC at the material time, stated that I should not go because I could easily be recognized. So the ADC to Brigadier Garba, who also was his younger brother, Lieutenant Sunday Garba, was directed to take his platoon from Brigade of Gas Defense Company to go and get Fela. Sunday narrated to us what happened when he came back. He told us that on getting to Fela's house, it was locked and electrified. He shouted for Fela to come out but was ignored. They got NEPA to switch off the light, but Fela switched on his generator. So the only course open for them was to blast the generator to gain access into the house. When they entered Fela's house, they ransacked the place and beat up everybody, including Fela's old mother, who was thrown out of the window. They were all arrested.
Ojukwu sat down in Aburi with God,
including Fela's old mother, who was thrown out of the window. You see, whenever they go that military exercise, there will always be casualties. Including Fela's old mother was thrown out of the window. You will tell me, if an old woman in 1979, when everything was still fresh, when, you know, I believe the rules of these colonials, you know, were still there, or their infrastructural development and their teachings were still there, they went to go and ransack Fela's house because Fela was advocating for justice, equity, and fairness for the indigenous people of that Nigeria. Now they went in there, they threw the mother out of the window. Now when they remember what happened in Afaru, they went in there, they shot 28 dead. They shot 28 persons dead. Now you will now start comparing this incident, that if the presiding judge of Court of Appeal will not recognize that this is a culture of these dictators that you call your president in Nigeria. Now at least Obasanjo was brought into the commission. Who is going to be brought in to the commission in this regard? Or is it the cabal in Asorok? Or is it because the regime that we have now is a Fulani regime? They are above the law. There is nobody that is worthy of bringing them to account. Is that what is going on here? Because 28 able-bodied men, uncle to people, brothers to people, siblings to, you know, husband to people, and the father to their children, they died, they were killed, and nobody is held accountable. I want you to continue to pay attention to this so that you will understand that this is a culture of Nigeria. This is their culture. This is what they do. Whenever you stand up to challenge that, you know, structure given to them by this Britain, the structure given to them by this late Queen Elizabeth, I don't blame people when they come to say that Queen, you know, when they come to write in, they are celebrating her life. She lived long, even after exploiting you. So you coming now to say, let her soul not rest in peace. It does not make any sense. It does not. It will never change anything. All you need to start doing right now is to start trying to find a way to break free from that structure that placed you in your predicament. So that same structure that they laid for Nigeria is that same structure that they are protecting. People in the likes of Obasanjo, who will come today to act all innocent because he's no longer in position of power. Now Buhari, all of them, we are the same people in the same military, cantonment, or will I say military, they were the same age in their military regime. They know each other during that military regime. So now you will ask yourself, are we still in the military regime that a military will go and say that they are doing Operation Python dance on the 28 able-bodied men, kill them, and they were not held accountable? Are we still on the military regime? The answer is yes. And yet we say that we are in democracy. Who is fooling who here? Who is fooling who? The same structure that was given to you by Britain is because of that. They are nurturing it. They are trying to perfect that structure that will continue to economically exploit the people of that nation. That same structure, as a result of protecting that structure, Fela's mother was thrown out of the window. Fela's old mother was thrown out of the window. People of the Africa, people of the world, you know Fela Kuti, the man who is a legend in Africa, Afrobeat. A legend of Afrobeat. Many people are copying his style of music, which is giving them a Grammy Award today. Fela was a hero. They went to kill him. Now let's continue to listen to the commission. Pay very good attention.
Congratulated him for successfully accomplishing his mission. He went on, sir. Some days later, there was a public uproar and people were so disgusted with the way Fela, his mother, younger brother Beko and his troop, to this detailed account of one of your officers.
Excuse me, please. I hate a council lead the state to testify. If you find anything favorable to him, it's only fair and professionally right to read it out.
Why Fela's shrine? What in the world was the big deal about Fela calling his shrine Kalakuta Republic? It was ordered never to. From the soldiers from Abati barracks, soldiers from the brigade of guards also took part in the operation that led to the destruction of Fela's house on that day.
I wouldn't know.
Now, have a look at the report, please. That was tendered this morning, the Kalakuta report. See that, sir? Two of body of guards troops, led by a lieutenant, met me near the scene.
Standard operation.
So Your Excellency does not operation.
No, I do not say. I say soldiers from Brigade of Guards. But when you have a situation of IS, you have to
showing of flag. Are you paying attention? They were supposed to plan that who they are using all the time to kill anybody who will rise up against the oppression. It is the same people who is your person. You know, it is your people. The mastermind might come from Europe, but the people who will carry out the dirty work will be your own people. That is how stupid in this OG is. Blacks. That is how stupid we are. We always make ourselves available to be used to oppress ourselves. In all this conundrum, you will understand that what they were trying to achieve is to eliminate Fela so that another person will, when they remember what happened to Fela, because Fela was advocating for justice, equity, and fairness. divide the national cake for everybody to take part on it. When you remember what happened to Fela, you will never ever speak. The same thing that they did in 2017 at Afaruku Ibeku. They went to kill Mazi Nnamdi Kanu so that any other person who will remember what happened to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, they will never ever stand up to speak. If Facebook kick you out, bring yourself back in. If Facebook kick you out, bring yourself back in. Because Facebook does not want us to preach the gospel of freedom. They only want us to be gossiping. So, if they kick you out, bring yourself back up. Because I can see how they are kicking people out. Now, we must continue. So, this is the tradition. This is what Nigeria do whenever they want to shut you up. Now, I want to present to this Supreme Court, the Appeal Court of Nigeria, that this thing you are watching right now is as a result of, colonial principles. Result of colonial principles. The executive will never want to be challenged by anybody, be it individual, be it organization. They want to be the dictator. They want to continue to dictate. Anything that will challenge their dictatorship regime, that thing must be cut off. That is the colonial principle. And now, this generation, we have come to say and to put an end to it by bringing everything back to the status quo. We do not want to be part of this injustice anymore, of a colonial rules, colonial plans, colonial projections. Provision for employment. Almost all the youth in Nigeria are unemployed. Almost all of them are unemployed. Forget about the numbers they will always bring to you, telling you 33%, which is a lie. The biggest lie of the century. Okay, if it is 33%, 66 million people are unemployed in a country. Remember, these numbers are not correct. They just release whatever they feel like. How can people be employed when there is no, electricity? How can there be innovations when there is no power? The only way that Nigeria understand to do things is to depend on their colonial masters. Be dependent on their colonial masters to do everything for them. They will keep on importing, keep on importing. After 1960, what happened to Naira? Each president that comes into power, Naira will begin to be devaluated, depreciate. Naira will continue to devaluated. Now, since that time, you will tell me how many presidents have you had since prior to 1960 till date? Each and every one that comes in comes with a different challenge. You will say, no, this one will do it correct. This one will do it well. At the end of everything, you will find out they cannot. To be honest, some of them might want to do it well. Some people like Jonathan, good luck Jonathan, they will want to do it well. But what happened? The system where they were, sitting on is a corruptible system that you can never amend. You will never thrive on top of that system. That was the reason why Goodluck could not succeed. Why do you think that America start interfering with Nigeria election during the time of Goodluck to give you this person that is now brought you from the, from top to bottom? Why do you think that America actually started interfering so that they will give you a monster as a president? That this monster brought everything to the dust. If there is anything that is you are going to look up to and say, no, we can actually look at this and we will start finding a way to work things out as a one Nigeria. There is absolutely nothing anymore that you are going to look at and say, this, at least with this, we can make this nation work again. There is none. Don't let anybody fool you. The people who are screaming one Nigeria today are only political class, because they are benefiting from this, from this crash that they are getting from their, their neo-colonial entities. They are benefiting from it. That is the reason why they will continue to say one Nigeria. If Facebook kick you out, kick yourself back in, because they will continue to kick you out. My monitoring device, I know how many times they have kicked it out. If they kick you out, kick yourself back in, because we have to do it ourselves. This generation, we must, control and actually be fully in charge of our destiny, of our future. There is no way you can wait for anybody to do it for you. I know so many people expect me to have different opinion to the tribute to Queen Elizabeth II. No. She did what she had to do to make, the country great. She did what she has to do to make her country thrive. It is somebody who created room for her to come in and take your resources, use it to go and build where they call their own. The same resources, you that allow people to come and take it, you have never made use of it. You have never made use of it. Nigeria is importing petrol. They are importing petrol. They have crude oil. They have crude oil as a resources, because they don't have refineries. Whatever this foreign company tell them that it is the amount of barrel that was realized, they will agree. Who went there? Who knows about it? Whatever they tell you, they realize that they have, they realize 1,000 barrel. They will agree with them. Did you go and check who is standing tall to enforce a law in Nigeria? Nobody. All of them are corrupt in every position they found themselves in. Now you have that shame. You don't have shame to come and say that a freedom fighter is on a contempt of court. If you, as an entity who call yourself the leaders, who has been telling us that education is the key, that we pass through school while sweating, using everything we had, passing through university, go through youth service, do everything. At the end of the day, there is no job. You see a graduate doing conductor, driving motorbike, motorcycle as a profession. You see a medical doctor driving motorcycle, doing conductor in a taxi. It is only in Nigeria. Wasted years in the university. Today there is ASU strike. Children are not going to school. Almost 1 year now. They are not even shaking. Whichever, if you talk to this department, they tell you, they come with different stories. Education is the key. Education is the key. Where is the lock? Or is it what they have, a delay strategic plan on our people? Because they know that you will go to that school, spend 10 years, because a course you're supposed to read for 4 years in Nigeria, you will end up reading it for 8 years. Because of strike. Because of strike. But all these people who are exploiting you, their children are in abroad. Their children are attending the best university in the world. Who is funding that university their children are? Just to get a daily bread. And they will come and tell you, according to statistics, 33% is unemployed. That is a lie. That is a lie. Haven't you imagined, why is it that in a developed nation, in a free countries, it is to uplift that nation, to take it to success? But each time they elect a new president in Nigeria, that president will bring the country worse than the previous administration. Because if you want to tell me now that this structure will allow you to do something that will be beneficial to her people, if you want to bring on a debate, I will tell you that there is no way in this planet, as long as Nigeria state is concerned, as long as this court, structure that it is rooted on is concerned, there is nobody that will make that nation work again. Let me prove it to you. Because if you are willing to make that nation work again, the people who projected that nation to be the way it is will make sure that they sabotage you. They will make sure that they sabotage you. Do you think educated Goodluck Jonathan did not want to bring the best in Nigeria? So many people might say that he looted money on his own. Of course, at the time you cannot beat them, you have to join them. That is the quote that they will continue to give you. Once you go into that structure, you will see what others saw. Then you will say, if I cannot beat them, I have to join them because my life will be at stake. That structure is a killing machine. There is no way you will escape it if you decide to do good. So, for those of you who believe that Igbo presidency is going to make Nigeria better, I don't think so. Now, let us now go back to the time of Goodluck Jonathan. Of course, I will not be able to finish this video of Obasanjo and the State Capture Commission or whatever, when he was being interrogated as for how they sent military through T.Y. Danjuma to go and wave flag on the mother of Fela by throwing him out of the window. He said that it is called Operation Go and Show the Flag. The same way Buhari sent Operation Python Dance in Afaruku Ibek. Because there is always oppression. And they will end up hurting somebody. No one will be held accountable. Now let's go to the time of Goodluck Jonathan so that you will understand that these people who are controlling, what is going on in that contraption called Nigeria, because it is not a nation. Those people who is controlling the activities of the lives of everybody in that Nigeria, it is not actually the person you voted in. Who are those? It is Western agenda. It is the Western agenda. Those are the people who are controlling that narrative. Remember, whenever we talk about Western colonial and everything, Facebook will begin to kick you out. So if they kick you out, bring yourself back up. Now, Let me show you the reason why I told you that it is only the Western agenda that control Nigeria, that Nigeria is being run on Western agenda. There is no way an individual will make a difference in Nigeria. I am going to show you, because I believe and I know Goodluck Jonathan, educated man, he wanted to do something. He was willing to do something. And you see, people who believe that his regime was not working, he was not willing to do something. Where are those people today? Where are they today? What have they to say today about the regime of this man in Aso Rock? Now, let us go and listen. Listen to how they basically used Obama of United States, the President Emeritus of United States, how they used him to actually sabotage the regime of Goodluck Jonathan. Then you will understand that regardless of who goes there, regardless of, I told you, even if you bring the angels of God to place there, they will never thrive, because they are sitting on a principle. That is the principality we talk about. A principle that can never be changed unless you go back to the status quo. Unless you correct the mistake of 1914, there is no way the principle is going to be changed, because correction of 1914 experiment is the only thing that will defeat that principle. Because now there is no, everybody is now going to manage what they have. There is no one who, that part of sub-Saharan, they are not in agreement with us. They can never give in to our demand and our request to conquer them. The only way we can do is to bring these nomadic people who are suicidal, very suicidal. That is the reason why you used to. We give them gun because they don't value life. All they value is to use gun and bullet to do the expansion of their belief system. Our demand or initiative, we will use these people, empower them to continue to oppress these people. Because when we use them, oppress them, whoever that rises up to speak, cut that person down. The same thing they did in a slave ship. Anybody who will want to rise up in the slave ship to, what happened to the other? That person, you will not rise up to do something, because you will be very scared. They will create and instill fear in you, while inculcating cowardice in you. Now, this has been our problem. Fear, cowardice. We cannot do it. They will kill us. But what did it, how did this European come where you are living? It is as good as dead. It is as good as death. It is as good as somebody who does not exist. If you are living the way you are living, it is better we go to the battlefield. If we die, we die. If we make it, even if it is one man, one woman, they will now continue our lineage. As long as this lineage they are going to continue, they are going to actually be successful and be free economically. That is their belief. Being resolute, resilience. They were resilient, and they came. They triumphed on theirs.
in order to destroy their own. That is resoluteness. So, they gave Fulani gun. They came. They gave Fulani gun. Tell them, give them this initiative. Anybody who stand up to challenge you, eliminate them. Don't give them second chance. Because if you eliminate 1, 2, 3, the other ones will be coward. Now, when you believe that Fulani is the one ruling over you, the initiative that is ruling over you is British. It's Britain initiative, because it is a law, it is a principle that is already laid that you can never change until you break that amalgamation. Remember, the primary obligation of these people before the amalgamation was to solve the budget deficit of who? They say the North. Is the North not still hungry? Are they not still living like, in the bushes? So whose budget deficit is being solved? Is it the North or the Britain? These are the questions, even the Arewa in the North, you need to ask yourselves. You have resources that can cater for you, that you, even if you don't discover oil, which I believe you will be part of one of the richest countries in Africa. You have what it takes. Likewise, the people in the South, they have their own. But because our mind is now propelled and positioned on oil and gas coming out from Biafra land, that is the reason why we can no longer think as a human being. Is this marriage working? This marriage, is it working? We are in a toxic relationship in that Nigeria. And that toxic relationship has been destroying lives, impoverishing lives, plunging your economic growth. Now, when anybody will stand up to try to fix and make things right, somebody, the British, oligarchy or their counterpart in America, they will use one of them to plunge that ideology that will see you winning, or that will see you, uplifting yourselves from this, economic exploitation. Now, let me show you the reason why. I just one example of what I am talking about. One example of what I am talking about. How they did it to Goodluck Jonathan. Now you will hear it actually from the horse's mouth. Listen attentively.
Was very overwhelming. The level of interference by the Obama's government was very overwhelming. It's not as if I couldn't have. The level of interference by the Obama's government was very overwhelming. It's not as if I couldn't have won the election even with that.
And came down to Agege Road, all the way from.
Be on your own and pay tax to the central government, as they have in America, as they have even in Britain. Britain
was very overwhelming. It's not as if I couldn't have won the election even with that. But if by my own thinking and also the way some other people look at it, they go outside the normal diplomatic relationship, then it should be mentioned.
I'm going
Sending that person to Nigeria at the eve of election, after Obama even issued a statement directing Nigerians to vote for the next chapter. That tells you something. And we should not sweep these things under the carpet. If a foreign country, or the African country, or even
right now it's
America or any other
see,
country,
we must say the truth, because if you don't,
elections, we should mention it.
In the small screen, that's why I brought it so close. Sorry for that glitching and video playing and other. So see it in.
The appearance of Obama's government is overwhelming. Why is it overwhelming? Because why would somebody, America have their own challenges, but he is there interfering with the Nigeria election. As a result of that interference, what did you see happening today? As a result of that interfering, they gave you a monster. They gave you a killer machine. They gave you somebody who will now jihadize you, Fulanize you, take over your land. Listen.
If I couldn't have won the election even with that, but if by my own thinking, and also the way some other people look at it, they go outside the normal diplomatic relationship, then it should be mentioned. Sending that person to Nigeria at the eve of election, after Obama even issued a statement directing Nigerians to vote for the next chapter, that tells you something. And we should not sweep these things under the carpet.
Obama issued a statement directing Nigeria to vote for the next chapter. Do you know why? Because there is always a cabal that they will, whoever you claim you vote for, they will just place him there as a ceremonial, the one that is their spokesperson. They make that person their spokesperson. But they know that they will plunge every effort that person will make to build the country, to make the nation work again. Then if that person is ruthless, they will become like Buhari you see today, the one in Aso Rock. If they are ruthless, they will become like the one in Aso Rock. But let us continue, let us continue. It is not the press people that are supposed to go to the field to fight terrorism. Apparently, they are the same people who are terrorizing the country. They are the same people who are the people who tell you the attack in the north on Boko Haram is an attack on the north. So they do what they want. They come to tell you different stories, one way, one story or the other, because that book, the late one, all these people traveling to meet America president and trying to be your leader, they cannot do it. They cannot change anything. The only thing that will make change, bring change, is disintegration. Because while you are disintegrating Nigeria, you are as well disintegrating that structure, that neo-colonial structure that has been, bringing you downfall, bad news, massive killings, displacement, victimization. That structure you need to destroy. Until you do so, you are going nowhere. Don't fool yourself. Don't be fooled by anything, because there is no other way you can do it. Only through disintegration. Go back to the status quo. Let's continue.
That, yes, maybe they do their best, but their best was not good enough for us to recover the girls. That does not mean that I'm trying to remove myself from any blame. Yes, I may not be blamed for the action, but I could be blamed that my security and intelligence system are not strong enough to be able to rescue the girls.
Did you hear that? That is the way it is. You, If you insist, they will kill you. But there has never been a brave person as a Nigeria president. Maybe those people who were killed, like Abacha. Maybe they were actually the brave ones who actually want to go contrary to the neo-colonial structure. Maybe they are. All these people, all those politicians that were killed, they actually killed them immediately, because that's what they do. You will never ever change it. Now, for you to see the root of these things, how it began, because the same people who started it are the same people who came back and started crying. Let me show you something. Because while you are looking at what is going on in Nigeria, you will also understand that there is always people who make themselves available as an agent. And these agents, they will be used. After being used, they will be dumped. At the end of it, you will find out that, they are regretting because they have discovered what they did to themselves. But before we go there, let us actually remind the world whom Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is before we proceed.
Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, a British national and political activist who was traveling on a British passport when he was kidnapped and tortured in Kenya for 8 days by Kenyan and Nigerian government-sponsored criminals. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu was renditioned to Nigeria on a government-chartered flight without extradition process. Nigerian government continues to hold Mazen Nnamdi Kanu captive under severe torture, treating him worse than a condemned criminal. In spite of all the protests around the world condemning extraordinary rendition of this great eloquent political activist and demanding for his release, Boris Johnson's British government continues to do nothing and says nothing to free Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, who is a British citizen and who is being tortured to death by the Islamist fundamentalist-controlled government of Nigeria. The questions now are, what does Boris Johnson's British government know about the planned kidnapping, torture, and rendition of this British citizen in the hands of the Islamist fundamentalist-controlled Nigerian government? Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is neither a criminal nor a wanted person in the civilized world. Why is Boris Johnson's British government romanticizing with this Islamist fundamentalist-controlled Nigerian government who are sponsoring terrorism around the world? Why is the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Miss Katrina Liang, romanticizing holding hands and taking photos with the terrorists who are holding her own British citizen captive unlawfully? If Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is to be a white British citizen, would he be abandoned to die in a foreign country for committing no crime? The answer is no. For asking for the freedom of Biafran people in Nigeria, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has committed no crime known to law. For practicing Judaism, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu has committed no crime known to law. Calling on the world leaders to free Mazen Nnamdi Kanu now to avoid the dire consequences if Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is killed by Nigerian government and her accomplices. Free Mazen Nnamdi Kanu now. Let Biafra go. What the Almighty God cannot do does not exist. This message is supported by the human rights advocates.
This country is going down the precipice. We have been set back more than 60
Britain
years
also want the something they're enjoying
right now.
to happen in Nigeria. Why?
We've gone back to the time before.
Anybody telling you about one Nigeria is your enemy. I prove it to you now.
Now, I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen attentively to what I am about to show you right now. Pay very good attention. Let's go there so that you will understand the plans they made. How they holding Mazen Nnamdi Kanu today, calling him terrorist, the renowned terrorist with a blood rich. But they are calling an innocent man who wants the freedom of his nation. They call him terrorist. They call him contempt of court. They call him all sorts of names because he wants to emancipate his people. Now let us listen to this guy.
It's not about sentiment. It's that there are a group of people in this country that feel it's a fact. I say you want me to start mentioning names of people in this government that we have interrogated. I was a member of an interrogation team, and I've interrogated a very high-ranking member of this government in 2007, 2008 on issue of Boko Haram. I interrogated him. He's in this government right now. And what was the issue? Boko Haram. And this senior officer was actually let go because he was found culpable. But right now he's in the government. You see, we must say the truth, because if you don't, this country is going down the precipice. We have been set back more than 60 years right now. We've gone back to the time before 1966 now. And whoever is coming back to repair this country has a lot of work to do. This country has never been polarized, so we cannot run away from it. We have never been this much polarized. I'm a federal person. My mind is federal. My brain is federal. My loyalty is federal. I do things for the federal government. So I cannot come here and try to be sentimental. No, I'm a federal person.
So will your life be at risk now that they're hearing you?
I don't care. I don't care. And my colleagues, they know me. Those people that listen to me, they know me. I don't care. The issue is that this country is bigger than individual. That is the issue. This country is bigger than individuals. Buhari will come and go. Eliminating me or killing me will not solve the problem and will not add value. But he will come and go, and somebody must come and repair the damage to the psyche of this society, the damage to the polarization, to the nepotism that I've never seen in my life. I work with all these presidents. This is the worst situation I've found myself. And believe me, to bring Buhari to government, because I believe in him.
Have you worked with the government after that?
After
you helped bring the government?
Oh, of course, I worked with him. We brought him in 2015, and I work as the Deputy Director of Defense Administration. And we have a lot of hope in him. And we actually are ready to do anything for him. What he has turned out over the years is shocking to us. I was in Harvard in 2014, in December, when the Department of State Services and CIA and others were contemplating about Buhari and other aspirants. I know what we did to convince the American government that the only person that can come and put this country right is Buhari. That was before the Lagos, APC, before they chose within. Right. I was in Harvard in 2014.
So I am going to repeat what I have just said. I saw we did not have a voice and we were muted. Now, I want you to know, this man said, I will still... Okay, where is it? I think we are actually having issues now. Are we still coming out? Are we still coming out? Somebody confirm for me if we are still coming out. Okay. Now, I want you to know that this guy said here, they know how much, what they did to convince American, what do you call it? Is it American leaders? That Goodluck is not the right one, that Buhari is the right one. They knew what they did to convince America. You ask me, why do they need to convince America? What is the business of America
in the Nigeria presidential election. They know what they did to convince America. And that same thing they did to convince America was to convince America, because America is the one who called the shot. And the other people who are supposed to sit there, just sit there, address the people, do whatever they want, but they should not make anything that will drive the country to economic growth, that will drive the country to, to have infrastructural development, that will drive the country to, to transition the country into fourth industrial revolution, innovation. Now, they cannot, they don't want that person who will sit down there as your president to do anything that will help the country. That is the reason why before anybody you want them to be a president in Nigeria, you have to first of all go and convince America first. There is an adage in our place that said that if Good Luck want to now be honest and tell Nigeria what he saw as a Nigeria president in the last 6 years he was there, I believe that, people will now understand what I am saying. Except if you are their spy. Except if you are their spy. You don't have a problem. You wouldn't have a problem. Just like the Buhari is their puppet. But he died, unfortunately. That is the reason why they were able to bring a person look-alike Buhari and place him there. Convince everybody that it is Buhari. This man who told you, this man here told you that they know what they did to convince America about Buhari. Listen attentively. You would ask yourself, why do you need to convince America? Is America Nigerians? Does America own any resources in Nigeria? Does America own any... what is the business of America for them to be convinced first before you choose a president? Now, let's continue.
In December, when the Department of State Services and CIA and others were contemplating about Buhari and other aspirants, I know what we did to convince the American government that the only person that can come and put this country right is Buhari. That was before the Lagos APC, before they chose within. Right. And that was how Tinubu came in. We know what we did, but what he has done in the past 6 years is shocking. It's unprecedented. And it should not be allowed to be swept under the carpet, because the damage to the psyche of this country is monumental.
That is the way it is. Before you vote, before you go there, that is the reason why you find P2B going to Britain, going to America, going to French, going to these people, all these colonialists. He's going to meet them for them to give him the opportunity to be on that seat. He is not going to do anything there. Believe you me. He might be willing. He might be willing. But he is not going to do anything there, because he is sitting on top of principalities and power from high places that you will not be able to navigate to anything that is going to be beneficial to the country except to yourself. To yourself. And that is the reason why they are fighting and killing to sit there, because they know that they are not, they are not going to stop them. The people like this that they have to convince before they select a Nigeria president. People they have to convince, American government. What exactly are you going to say that you are winning? Where are you winning? The more it becomes worse, you will continue hoping on hope. You will continue hoping on hope, which you have to see now. If you want to now check, in 2011, the Nigeria GDP was sitting on 405 billion US dollars. In 2011, 400 on 291.9 billion US dollars. Nigeria GDP. 2011, it went up. It went up. Now, what is it today? How is it today? Let's see. 10.35 trillion recorded in the quarter of 2022. So now it was what in 2020? Let's see 2020. 2020, 432.3 billion US dollar. 432.3 billion US dollars. Now, in 2022, it's sitting on 17.29 trillion naira in naira. Now, let's convert 17.29 trillion naira. Let's actually convert it to dollar. US dollar. It is actually showing error. Let's do this. Error. It is actually showing error. I'm trying to work it out. 17.29 trillion to US dollar. So then you will see. I want to show you something. I think to work this out is going to take a lot of time. But if And this time around is sitting on 39 trillion naira. It means that it went down. It went down. So everything they will want to kill you. Now taking us back to Court of Appeal that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is going. Everything that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu spoke about is coming to pass, is happening. He told us that they are actually Islamizing you. Fulanis are all over in your bushes, all over the place, trying to actually make you their slaves. Kidnapping, raising money so that they will use the same money to descend on you. These Fulanis, where are they coming from? Niger Republic. Niger Republic, one of the poorest economy in Africa. They are coming from Mali. They are coming from all these places. And somebody will come and tell you there are Fulanis that are, those you don't know which one is Fulani from Nigeria and which one is Fulani from Niger. They will tell you. Sitting around 3.5 was actually, ceremony. You had a ceremony in the name of independence. If you cannot start working on going back to the status quo, you will continue to tell the same story every 4 years, every 8 years. You will continue to tell the same story in Nigeria. The best way to go, Pharaoh, let my people go. Let everybody go and be on their own. Manage what God gave to them. Stop using one to solve another. Because that's where, principle. We do have open border principle. As long as everybody is equal to the task, equal to the, to take care of their nation. That is what is important. Not having one tribe dictating for the whole people. 200 million people. For anything. That your economy will grow billion. That is a slap to the face. And it will continue to be plunged. It will continue to go down. It will continue to go down. That is the way it is. All you need to do now is to make a decision. Make a decision. Let us go back to how we were before they came. Before Lord Lugard came to Nigeria. Before they came to do is to release him. The only thing you can do is to release him. Because in that law that you have in that zoological republic, it does not incriminate anybody who stand to advocate for freedom. That is it. So if you are holding him there, that means Nigeria does not practice human rights. There is no human right in Nigeria because apparently you have violated all his human rights by depriving him of medical care, depriving him of many things, keeping him in a solitary confinement when he has not done anything wrong. When you got terrorists, when you capture terrorists, you will claim that you are reintegrating them. You claim that they have gone through rehabilitation, which nobody knows how. Where is the center, rehabilitation center they go through? You bring them into the army. You now send them to the southeast. You send them to the east, to Biafra land, to start dancing Operation Python dance in the life of our people. Just recently killed 14 men in Imo State. All of these things are always being swept under the carpet. Nobody is held accountable. Nobody stands to challenge this system. But we, this generation, we will continue to challenge this system. We will continue. You will have no peace, because there will never be peace. Regardless whether we do what we are doing or not, there will never be peace. So we are not going back. So great people of Biafra all over the world, lovers of freedom, we are bringing this program to an end, and we are going to call it a day. And make sure you stay informed, stay safe until we meet again. Bye for now.
Land of the rising sun, we love and cherish. We live so we shall perish.